There we have Magnus. Bit shorter hair. Openings as trolley as ever. One knight c3. d5, d4.
Yeah, bringing it back to the sort of familiar-ish these days London/Verisov territory. You've recorded something on the subject recently, haven't you?
Yeah, the main thing not to blunder here is any sort of knight b5 trick. That really is the main thing you need to know about the Verisov. If you don't allow that, you're in good shape. And Hikaru stopped it with a6.
Yeah, and the game has progressed somewhat further, so this being Blitz, I don't think there's much point in us discussing the finer points of the Verisov, in particular the Verisov with bishop f4, which I think is mild even by Verisov standards, but...
Are you calling it very soft?
I wasn't, but I am now, obviously. And yeah, I think Magnus generally should be happy enough with a position like this. He might even objectively have a little bit of a pull here, but also only one pair of bishops got traded off, and there's a lot of play left. And
Rook c8, very deep move. I don't get it, but I think he removed his knight next move, which is what I was going to suggest. h3, knight fd7.
Yeah, and bishop g3. Without the rook on c8, bishop takes c7, e d5, knight d5, queen d5 would have won a pawn. I'm not sure Magnus would have even gone for that because it leaves him with a really ruined structure in the center. But it would have been an option. With the rook on c8, it's no longer really very attractive, and the bishop went to g3, rook e8. Black's position is extremely solid. There are no weaknesses. It's a very, very decent pawn structure, but it's not easy for Black to do much, you know, in terms of constructive improvement. Maybe in some cases he might go for c6, c5 breaks if they are sufficiently prepared, but that's about the only active plan you can think of. The knight on b6 is really not a very attractive piece here.
I think it was Tartakova who once said a knight on b6 is always misplaced, and it was some other dude who said knights that defend each other normally aren't well placed. So Black has two of the rules going against him here.
Yeah, and
he's working on it.
Yeah, knight f6 allows b4, but rook e8 blitzed out. Well, blitzed out is not really something I should be saying very much, because most of these moves will be blitzed out, this being a blitz tournament. But Hikaru immediately spotting that there is now counterplay available to him in the shape of a6, a5, or at least potentially, because he declined to do it straight away, a5, b5 favoring white. And instead he went knight h5, knight f6, sort of passing the move to white and saying, okay, show me where your constructive feedback is.
Be more constructive with your feedback.
Yeah, queen e7 once again hinting at a5. Magnus played knight g2. You have to check a5, but I guess right now ba5.
Take it.
Yeah, the knight will be hanging and it has no useful squares. And if this knight actually gets transferred from f3 to c5, White will be a lot happier about his situation. Yeah. That will be the one really good piece you can base your play around.
So Magnus.
I'm starting to like this for White.
Magnus hasn't won a classical chess tournament since Bilbao 2016. Is it too early for writing him off? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is now very nice for White, obviously. Rook a7 is an incredibly unattractive move, but maybe the only move Black had in that position to even protect the b7 pawn. And now Magnus has the option of playing a... yeah, I'm not sure about knight takes c5, but maybe Hikaru felt he was by now obliged to do it. And White might have to play... no, but d4 is just very decent here. I think d4 followed by b5.
He's fighting against b5 by going b6. Might still work, but
yeah,
in some positions,
in some positions it might still work, but here in particular, I think it probably leads to complete simplification in the center. But he does go for it. That's interesting because after everything comes off, b takes c5, b takes c6, rook takes c6, I don't think you are left with a lot. You can still play on, but it doesn't look horrific for Black.
No, but Black still has to coordinate his pieces. Like,
sure, but something like even maybe rook a6 might not be completely horrible. Or you could go rook e6 or rook... yeah, he went rook g6 with the same idea, unpinning the c5 pawn just to try and completely eliminate everything on the queen side. 3 against 3, even with awkward pieces, will be very difficult to win for white.
Sounds like topic of a book I'm working on. Drawing by unpinning. Queen b5, rook a5.
Yeah, I guess he saw some tactical issues, but now the rook on a5 will come under pressure. Bishop c7 is a threat. I'm not sure I like bishop. I like rook a5. It's becoming a bit awkward. The queen on d8 is also not great. Although bishop c7, you can play queen g5 here for black.
This looks very scary.
Yeah, knight f4 might be very... No, knight f4, queen, rook b6, yeah.
Potentially.
Queen g5, knight f4, though. I think this is what Magnus is planning.
That's the idea.
Yeah, and I think...
Queen a8 has been played.
Yeah, Hikaru spotted this, and queen a8 is a clever move, because it more or less forces white to trade. But, yeah, with the knight e7 check, black did end up losing the c-pawn. And this will not be an easy draw, although...
He's trying to exchange the bishop, probably.
Yeah, I think the 4-rook endgame is probably his best shot, but it's... With the rook on c1, yeah, this might not be easy to hold at all. Maybe knight b4 is a better shot here. Try to establish some kind of a blockade.
I went rook c6.
Yeah, that's not
better version.
Yeah, that's a much better version. And I'm surprised by how fast Magnus went for this, because I think this might just be a draw now.
King d6.
Just king d6 followed by.
Oh, he's fishing. But
yeah, he's trying to create weaknesses on the king side, but just king e7 here and then return to d6. Although now pawn endings might be lost, like king g3 here. Yeah, Magnus immediately spots the difference between the previous position and this. f5, h4 here, I think you can take.
Oh, takes. I can't calculate. Takes.
No, f4 probably wins, yeah. F4 actually.
I was wondering. Yeah.
I think f4 kind of wins. But maybe by this point there was already not a lot of choice for black. Takes f4. I think g4 loses. But hang on, no. Maybe you can run towards the g3 pawn. King h4, king g5, king g5, king e4, g3, king f3. That probably is a draw.
These guys calculate quite quickly.
Yeah, but also black has absolutely no choice. So
sure.
The whole line comes at a lightning pace because it's just completely forced. So from a certain point on, I think a very well played game, and Hikaru defended what at some point looked a horribly unpleasant position successfully.
Holding any worse endgame against Magnus is not an easy feat. So good job, Hikaru.
Not the easiest pairing in the world, I guess, for both of them for round one, and a well played game. In other results, we see that this is the final position in MVL against Kramnik, and MVL won with white. So he is the early frontrunner potentially. Sergei Karyakin has beaten Caruana with white. And there's a ton of decisive games. Apart from the game we
Come
covered.
on, Fabi. Rook g4?
Well, the position already is completely lost. You have a feeling, and rook g4, you know, if it works, is the only chance black has to at least spoil the white structure. But yeah,
loses a rook.
Loses a rook. There is a tactical drawback, and Lev gave mate on.
Oh, I've seen this trick.
Yeah, Lev gave mate on the board to Wesley in some kind of a theoretical Queen's Gambit decline battle, seemingly from what I can see from the opening. And we're missing one more game, I think.
So half out of 3 for the Americans, scored by Hikaru with black against Magnus.
Yeah, interesting. And Anand Giri looks like Vishy was pressing with an extra pawn, but bishops generally hold these positions quite comfortably. And
by pressing, you mean he agreed to draw instantly?
Not instantly. I think they've been playing this endgame for a while.
This looks like a marshal gone slightly wrong, but not wrong enough to lose, right?
Yeah.
You move around.
Yeah, I think in this position in particular, if the knight goes somewhere, bishop f1 is just tremendously unpleasant. So, yeah, there's just not a lot white can do. So not a premature decision by Vishy to repeat. So we have 2 games drawn and 3 early leaders: Sergei Karyakin, Lev Aronian, and Maxim on 1 out of 1. And we probably have pairings for round 2 somewhere, but...
We do? I would not bet on that.
I think they're up on the website. It's just that we can't possibly access the website as fast as some of you out there watching can.
Yeah, they will play more games in round number 2. Total, they will play 9 games. It's like the real thing, just with 3 minutes plus 2 seconds. increment instead of 100 minutes plus no increment, which they will have in the tournament.
Yeah, and there were already some complaints about that. It's not that this time control has never been seen before, but I've seen some outrage posts on Facebook saying that if there is increment, it should start at move 1.